Welcome in. I know exactly why you're here today.
Yeah.
You're a curious learner, someone who really thrives on figuring out how the most exclusive, high-stakes systems in the world actually operate behind closed
The
doors.
stuff that isn't on the public radar.
Right, exactly. You aren't satisfied with surface-level explanations, and frankly, neither are we. So today, we are pulling back a very heavy, very exclusive velvet curtain.
Oh, this is a fun one.
It is. We are exploring a freshly published piece from today, actually, March 10th, 2026. It's titled Gloves of Gold, Cara Conde's White Glove Guide to Indianapolis Luxury Real Estate Mastery.
That's quite the title.
It really is.
Huh.
But our mission for this deep dive, it's not just to gawk at massive mansions or, talk about expensive countertops.
Right, we're going deeper than that.
Yeah. We want to decode the highly sophisticated, incredibly secretive mechanics of the high net worth real estate market as it functions right now. And we're using Indianapolis as our ultimate case study.
Which is fascinating in itself.
Because it is currently experiencing this massive, somewhat unexpected surge in affluent relocations. So to help me synthesize all of this and break down the actual mechanics of the market, I have our resident expert here.
Glad to be here.
Set the stage for us. What exactly is happening on the ground in the 2026 Indianapolis market?
Now, it's a truly unique landscape right now. The Indianapolis luxury market is currently locked in what Conde describes as a tango of tight inventory.
A tango of tight inventory. I like that.
It's accurate, too. You have this heavy, sustained influx of high net worth individuals moving into the area. We're talking CEOs, tech founders, multi-generational wealth. But there simply isn't an abundance of premium estates just sitting empty waiting for them.
Right.
Because of this supply and demand dynamic, the market is seeing massive appreciation rates. We're talking about an 8 to 12% jump in those highly sought-after premium pockets over a very short period.
Wow.
Yeah. It is a highly competitive, incredibly fast-moving environment where the standard traditional rules of buying and selling real estate just flat out do not apply anymore.
Okay, let's unpack this, because when the stakes are that high and the inventory is that constrained, the level of service required from a real estate advisor completely shifts.
Completely.
Conde uses this comparison that really caught my eye. She argues that standard real estate service is essentially like fast fashion.
Fast fashion, yeah.
Right? It's quick, it serves a basic immediate purpose, but it is mass-produced and ultimately forgettable. Standard agents are just tossing public listings around like parade confetti.
Just throwing things at the wall to see what sticks.
Exactly. But true luxury service, the kind required to actually win in this 2026 market, is haute couture. It is a completely bespoke experience, tailored tighter than a Savile Row suit. But I want to push past the marketing terminology here. On a practical level, what does haute couture real estate actually look like? How is it fundamentally different from just having a really proactive standard real estate agent?
That is exactly the right question to ask. We really have to look at why that distinction matters to you, the listener, and to the people actually deploying capital in this market. The demographic we are talking about consists of visionary executives and dynasties who are, for example, trading the dense skyline of Chicago for the serene sophistication of suburbs like Carmel or Zionsville.
Right, big lifestyle shifts.
Huge shifts. And when someone of that stature makes a move, their primary constraint isn't money, it's time, and it's friction. A standard agent reacts to the market. They wait for a house to be listed, they print out a spec sheet, and they show it to the client. The haute couture approach is entirely proactive.
They can't afford to wait around.
No, they require an advisor who anticipates their lifestyle requirements before those desires are even fully articulated.
So it's less about finding a building and more about mapping out a lifestyle.
Exactly. What's fascinating here is that Conde explicitly notes she isn't just facilitating transactions, she is orchestrating transformation.
Orchestrating transformations.
That is a massive psychological and operational pivot. A transaction is just a swap of money for a deed. A transformation is about setting up a multi-generational legacy in a new city. It completely changes the job description. You are no longer a salesperson. You are a strategic lifestyle architect.
That's a great way to put it.
And to do that effectively, when there are virtually no premium homes for sale, you cannot rely on the same tools the general public is using. You have to find a competitive advantage that operates entirely in the shadows.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because if you are looking for an edge in real estate, you would traditionally expect an advisor to lean on a background in elite sales or aggressive marketing or maybe high-end interior design.
Sure, usual suspects.
But Conde has a massive twist in her background. She holds a computer science degree from Oxford University.
It's an Oxford CS degree.
Right, and she is leveraging that highly technical, rigorous background to perform what she calls predictive tech wizardry.
And that background is the defining variable in her entire strategy. In 2026, we are operating in a data-drenched domain. If you publicly broadcast that a high-profile executive is searching for a $10 million home, it is a recipe for disaster.
Oh, I bet.
It instantly inflates prices. It leads to bidding blizzards where premium estates just vanish in hours. So she bypasses that entirely. Instead of waiting for a house to pop up on a public database, she deploys AI-driven predictive models. She uses her computer science expertise to scan data shadows for off-market whispers,
Off-market whispers.
essentially forecasting the emergence of luxury estates before the current owners have even formally decided to sell.
Wait, hold on. Let's dig into that because it sounds almost like magic. How do you practically predict that someone is going to sell a massive estate before they even put a sign in the yard or tell their friends? What is the algorithm actually looking at?
It isn't magic. It's highly advanced pattern recognition. The AI model is analyzing thousands of disparate data points that signal a forthcoming lifestyle change.
Like what kind of data points?
It looks at municipal building permits. Maybe an estate hasn't updated its roof in 20 years, which historically precedes a sale. It tracks macroeconomic shifts, corporate relocations, executive tenure data. If a CEO and situation, the AI flags that.
Oh, wow.
It looks at zoning changes, historical holding periods of specific properties, and even commercial lease agreements in the surrounding areas. By synthesizing all of that, the model can flag a property as having, say, an 85% probability of entering the market in the next 6 months.
That makes so much more sense. It's like a meteorologist calling a perfect storm.
Ah.
You are looking at atmospheric pressures, wind shifts, temperature changes, and predicting the weather before a single drop of rain falls.
That's a perfect analogy.
And she shows a brilliant specific anecdote about this methodology in the piece. By utilizing this predictive tech alchemy, she uncovered a constellation of hidden estates in Zionsville. She identified multiple never-before-seen properties in a single search, long before they ever hit the MLS.
Yeah, the public market.
Right, just to clarify for anyone unfamiliar, the MLS is the multiple listing service. It's the public database that pretty much every standard real estate agent relies on. And she was operating completely outside of it.
Bypassing the public MLS is the ultimate power move in a tight market.
Yeah.
By deploying advanced predictive AI, you are effectively circumventing the traditional laws of supply and demand. You are not competing with 50 other wealthy buyers in a public arena.
You're in a league of your own.
You are stepping into a private, exclusive vacuum that you created through sheer data analysis. It is a brilliant synthesis of high-level mathematics and hyper-localized real estate knowledge.
Which perfectly brings us to the actual methodology she uses to execute this. Conde breaks down her bespoke, maestro-like process into 4 distinct steps. I want to walk through these because understanding the mechanics here is fascinating.
Let's do it.
Step 1 is called confidential inception. The article describes this as starting in hushed tones over artisanal coffee to decode a client's deepest aspirations. Are you envisioning a Geist lakeside lair for sunset soirees or a Meridian-Kessler masterpiece with art gallery gravitas? But practically speaking, this isn't just a friendly chat, is it?
Not at all. That initial hushed tone conversation is basically a data gathering mission. When a client expresses a desire for art gallery gravitas, the advisor is translating that abstract desire into concrete parameters.
Right.
What ceiling height is required, what specific lighting exposure, what level of humidity control for fine art. They're defining the variables that will eventually feed the algorithm.
Exactly. Which leads directly to step 2, tech-infused intelligence. This is where she deploys that AI crystal ball we were just breaking down, taking those highly specific parameters from the inception phase and running them through the predictive models to spot those off-market opportunities.
The heavy lifting of the data.
Yeah. And then comes step 3, which is discrete sourcing and previews. The text describes this as tapping into an inner circle.
Yes, because the predictive AI identifies the target, but human relationships actually unlock the door. This step relies on intimate alliances with elite custom builders, estate managers, and past patrons who guard the finest homes in Indianapolis, like dragons hoarding gold.
Dragons hoarding gold. I love that imagery.
It's true, though. There are no paparazzi, no public showings. It is unadulterated, private access to hidden treasures based entirely on the advisor's reputation and network. And I want you, the listener, to pause and consider this dynamic for a moment. Think about your own professional field, whatever industry you happen to be in.
Yeah, apply this to yourself.
How could this combination of hyper-personalization, predictive data gathering, and a deeply vetted private network transform the way you operate? What would be the equivalent of finding off-market gold in your line of work before your competitors even realize there's an opportunity? Is a fascinating mental framework to apply to almost any career.
I really love thinking about it that way. It shifts you from being reactive to entirely proactive. And that leads to the final piece, step 4, hyper-personalized curation. It is all about the alchemy of alignment. She notes that if matchmaking were an Olympic sport, she would be winning gold.
Gold medal matchmaking.
It is about ensuring that a Carmel-gated gem perfectly balances the vibrancy of the local village with total, isolated privacy.
And once that perfect match is made, the process enters the negotiation phase, which, in this echelon of real estate, is treated as high art. Because she is a certified negotiation expert, she isn't just haggling over the final purchase price. In fact, the price is often the easiest part. She is meticulously structuring the deal to protect the complex lifestyle of the buyer.
The bespoke contingencies she negotiates are wild. We aren't talking about standard home inspections or termite checks here.
No.
We are talking about negotiating complex art installation clauses to ensure million-dollar sculptures can be safely moved. We are talking about securing municipal helipad approvals before the closing documents are even signed.
Helipad.
Yeah, and implementing privacy covenants that are described as being as ironclad as a Swiss bank. It is comprehensive wealth protection built directly into the real estate contract.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we really have to look at where this macro-level mastery actually comes from. You do not get to the point where you are casually negotiating helipad approvals and leveraging AI for off-market Zionsville estates just by looking at residential housing comps.
Definitely not.
If you look at the massive catalog of related writings published by Conde, you realize that her expertise is rooted in a profound understanding of the entire 2026 Indiana economic ecosystem.
That catalog of her other work is staggering. It ranges from commercial development to sports economics. How does all of that external research actually translate to selling a luxury residential home?
It translates perfectly because commercial movement predicts residential wealth. For example, Conde wrote a detailed piece about Cadillac's new Formula One headquarters opening in Fishers.
Right. Why does a residential luxury agent care about an F1 facility?
Because a facility like that brings an influx of highly paid engineering executives and international leadership who will immediately need premium housing in the surrounding area.
That makes total sense.
And she tracks the massive impact of Caitlin Clark on the Indianapolis economy in a piece titled Hoops and Homes.
Oh, Hoops and Homes. I saw that.
Yeah, Clark's presence elevates the city's profile, it drives massive tourism revenue, and makes Indianapolis a destination which directly bolsters local property values.
You follow the commercial investment, and the residential demand naturally follows.
Exactly. She tracks the new pickleball facility in Westfield, which signals demographic shifts toward active, affluent families investing in local infrastructure. She analyzes the intense debate over a 10% rental cap in Fishers, understanding how municipal regulations will affect long-term property investments. She even looks at the boom of recession-resistant early education real estate.
Wow.
And crucially, she closely monitors commercial financing. She frequently discusses SBA 504 loans.
Let's define that really quickly. What is an SBA 504 loan, and why is it on a luxury real estate advisor's radar?
An SBA 504 loan is a government-backed financing tool designed to help small and medium-sized businesses buy major long-term fixed assets, primarily commercial real estate or heavy machinery.
Okay.
When an advisor like Conde sees a spike in SBA 504 loans in a place like Avon or Plainfield, it is a massive leading indicator. It means local businesses are laying down physical, long-term roots. They are buying warehouses. They are building facilities.
So they're committing to the area.
Yes.
Yeah.
That creates a localized wealth creation event. The owners of those growing businesses are going to generate significant capital, and shortly after, they're going to look to upgrade their personal homes. By tracking those commercial loans, she knows exactly where the next pocket of residential luxury demand is going to spring up before the buyers even start looking.
That is brilliant. A standard agent looks at what a house down the street sold for last week. A master advisor looks at zoning laws, incoming corporate headquarters, and small business commercial loan data to map out the economic currents of the entire city. That is how you accurately price and secure an estate that is going to appreciate 12%. It's all deeply connected.
Everything is connected.
So what does this all mean for the client once the paperwork is finally signed, the helipad is approved, and the keys are handed over? Because typically, that is where the agent-client relationship abruptly ends.
In the standard model, yes, the curtain falls at closing. But in this haute couture model, it transitions into what she calls the concierge continuum.
The concierge continues.
This level of white glove service is designed to be an enduring touch. It is about ensuring that the legacy property you just purchased actually functions the way you dreamed it would on day one.
And the examples of this post-closing support are fascinating. Leaning back on that Oxford CS background, she helps clients seamlessly integrate bespoke, hyper-secure smart home systems. She curates elite interior alchemists to give the property its final, perfect polish.
Interior alchemists.
Yeah. She even facilitates seamless introductions into the inner sanctums of local high society, ensuring the clients are integrated into the community, not just living in a big house. My absolute favorite quote from the entire piece summarizes this philosophy perfectly. She says, "Luxury isn't a sprint. It's a marathon in Manolos."
It perfectly highlights the required longevity of the relationship. In an environment as dynamic as the 2026 Indianapolis market, where these elite enclaves are constantly evolving and shifting, providing that enduring post-closing support is what cements client loyalty for generations.
Oh, right.
It ensures that the transformation she promised at the very beginning of the inception phase is fully realized, protected, and sustained for decades.
It really is a masterclass in elevating a traditional service industry into something entirely modern and comprehensive.
Yeah.
To quickly recap the journey we've been on, true mastery in a high-stakes field requires a very specific, almost unfair blend of elements.
Very true.
You need deep technical knowledge, like the ability to leverage AI predictive modeling to map out commercial and residential data. You need an incredibly intimate, heavily guarded human network to access what the data finds. And you need an unwavering, ironclad commitment to discretion and negotiation. When you combine those three things, you transcend selling a product. You are orchestrating a legacy.
This raises an important question, something for you to mull over long after this deep dive ends. We spent a lot of time today exploring how predictive AI is currently being used at the very pinnacle of the high net worth real estate market to bypass public listings entirely.
Yeah, the data shadows.
Right. But technology rarely stays confined to the ultra-wealthy forever. As these predictive algorithms become cheaper, more widespread, and easier to deploy, will this off-market, highly predictive model eventually trickle down to the everyday middle-class housing market?
Oh, that's interesting.
What happens to the traditional home buying experience when neighborhood homes are bought and sold entirely through predictive algorithms before a for sale sign ever hits the front lawn? In 20 years, will the public housing market as we know it even exist? Or will we all be relying on data shadows to find our next home?
That is a phenomenal question to leave off on. The idea that the public real estate market could essentially become obsolete as predictive tech democratizes is mind-bending. The mechanics of how we buy the most important assets in our lives are clearly undergoing a massive silent revolution. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the 2026 Indianapolis luxury market and the truly fascinating systems operating beneath the surface. We love unpacking these highly specialized, high-stakes worlds with you. Keep learning, keep questioning the systems around you, and as always, stay curious.